Hello, and thanks for joining us yet again on Enterprise Friday on Enterprise TV. I'm Choma Okoya.
And I am Henry Igwebike.
Straight away, we head into the newspaper headline, but invite you to join us and be a part of what we do here by asking you to join our community across all social media. We are at Enterprise TV 7. You may like, subscribe, and share our content. But before we go ahead, let's welcome our guest this morning. Our guest this morning is no other than Barrister Evans Ufele. Good morning, Barrister Evans.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My pleasure.
Thank you so very much for your time.
And first off, we head into our newspaper dailies. And the first paper we'll be starting with is the Nation newspaper. Henry, what do we have?
So the big story here says a flood displaces 82 communities in Niger. And the writer here we have is we used the canoes to evacuate the families and situation worrisome. That's coming from a councillor from the state.
Okay, moving on to the top strip. Hardship. President Tinubu orders low-key 64th independence celebration.
And also very worrisome, if you ask me, on the bottom strip of the same newspaper, 50 million Almajiri out-of-school children roaming Nigeria's streets. And that's coming from the federal government.
Okay, moving on, still on the top strip of the Daily Trust newspaper. Jonathan counters Emir Sanusi, says Nigeria did not lose $49.8 billion under his watch.
And also very interestingly, and I guess that should be our area of discussion today, and it's about the federal government suspending prison officers over Bobrisky's allegation. And we have it authoritatively from the same newspaper that the federal government has suspended the officers in charge of the maximum and the minimum custodial center Kirikiri in Lagos State following an audio leak indicated that cross-dresser Idris Okoneye, aka Bobrisky, was convicted of a crime and sentenced to 6 months in jail, was given an apartment outside of the custodial center. Secretary of the Civil Defense Correctional Fire and Immigration Service Board, Jafaru Ahmed, disclosed this in a statement issued on Thursday in Abuja. Barrister Evans Ufele, I know we discussed this a day back, and
Yes.
of course, this is a developing story and a situation that we have before us. But do you think this is good enough to allow for a proper investigation in this matter?
Yes, suspension is the way to go, because those who are involved, actually, whom the case was assigned to in the prison, they are not hard to detect.
Okay.
From records, you just pull them out, and they've been suspended. They are not yet dismissed. Okay. Because investigation is ongoing, and it's good that they did that. I would have suggested that they were arrested immediately. Yes, because when you suspend them, they may tamper with investigation. Yeah, you understand me? They may tamper with investigation, so they are not supposed to be free out there. They may go and taint evidence.
But why must it start from those at the bottom of the food chain? Because according to the audio leak, right, it said that the controller general, the man in charge of prisons in Nigeria, was the one that initiated all of this move. So why must disciplinary action start from those at the bottom of the food chain? Yeah,
that is the ministry involved. Okay, the ministry in charge of interior. Okay, they are the ones who have handed this down. You see, the Controller General of Prisons sometimes may not be aware that an inmate is not within the facility. May not be aware. They do their own racket. The operatives, we have executives in the same prison. We have executives. Those ones is what you bring to them in terms of reports that they act on. Then you have the operatives, the ones who are physically involved in whatever it is. You understand? So, even though he mentioned, because the moment the story broke, the first person you will call is the Controller General, of course. That's the first point of call. But he may not necessarily be the one, even if, let me tell you how they operate. Yeah? If they want to do illegality, even in police force, the high-ranking officers, you will not see them. You will not see them at all. They delegate those dirty jobs to. And when crisis ensue, they will act like they know nothing. Yes, that is it now. They will now begin to look for those persons involved. When people collect bribe on traffic, and you have a smart citizen who records it, you understand, and put it in social media, what happened? They start looking for the operative involved. Meanwhile, that person is collecting those funds to make returns to the police station. You understand? It is not boldly written that they are sent by the DPO. It's not written anywhere. But DPO asks for returns. When they go out and come back, these things are unwritten. But the day they enter trouble or they find themselves in one, DPO cannot. You cannot arrest DPO.
And DPO can't save them.
It can't save them. It can't save them. So that is how the job is.
Okay, Barrister Sefeli, looking at this institution and from your submission yesterday, a few hours back, you stated that it's really corrupt and definitely the individuals that have received their own share of the quota will definitely hands off. And now they've come out to say that the suspension of these officers is to allow for the investigation, and they assure that they would make public what they actually gathered from the investigation. Can they be trusted to come give detailed statement, or the innocent will suffer for this at the end?
Why should the prison warders investigate themselves? They cannot investigate themselves. Nothing will come out from it if they investigate. Maybe now that the Minister of Interior's hand is on it, maybe somehow, but they need to get a different institution entirely. You understand? Because even if they want to prosecute a warder, if a warder is arrested for wrongdoing, they hand over to police. You understand me? So as bad and as broken as the police should be the one investigating the matter. Because the warders are not supposed to prosecute offenders. Theirs is to, habit either convicted criminals, awaiting trial inmates, or whatever it is, those who have been ordered by a court of law to be in custody. That's from where their work starts from. But if they want to prosecute any of their own, if they arrest any of their own, they hand over to the police. I don't know whether they do orderly trial. I don't know, but I know that the police does that, the army, the Air Force, the Navy, they do that. I don't know whether they do that, but they will definitely hand over to police.
But Barrister Evans, now let's look at this from this angle. This pattern is something that has eaten deep into the Correctional Service Center for years.
For years, yeah.
Definitely, this would actually give them a means to now devise another plan on how to actually keep the VVIPs. Or do you see this do you see this recent development as something that would actually change the narrative, or it's going to actually help them get to be more modernized on how to go about this business?
Now, you see, today I intend to make a broader view of it. My analysis yesterday was narrow, and it was deliberate. I want to make a broader view of this issue. You see, this VVIP and VIP thing is caused by the Nigerian government. Because now everybody is flaring up that why should you have special places and all that. Before now, it used to be in the prison custody, where they have that special, you have AC, you have DSTV, everything in those. Why those who are not privileged and all that, they are in the regular prison cells where they pack them in their numbers, is where they defecate that they sleep. It's where they defecate that they eat. So when you keep a prison condition that way, I mean, go abroad, you see penitentiaries abroad. There's no VVIP because everybody have the same equal infrastructure. And you have that. So if a government now neglect the prison to a point where an inmate will defecate in the same place, he will sleep there, in the same place he will eat there. When the sewage is filled up, they'll take bucket and enter the soccer and begin to bail out feces. If you keep the condition that way, and then somebody who is privileged, you understand, is sentenced, was meant to serve time of imprisonment, definitely he will look for an alternative way not to go through that experience. And then the prison warders are now waiting at the corner to monetize it. Then they offer it to you to tell you that if you want to, you understand, we have VIP and now you pay for it and you move in there. So let's not just vilify Bobrisky that option was mentioned to him. He couldn't have been the one who built the apartment outside to stay. It was an option mentioned to him, and he decided to exploit that option.
That has been of use for a very long
Yes,
time.
because they will tell him too that if we put you here, you won't stay. You won't. Do you know how many people die in the prison every day? If you know how many people die in the prison every day as we speak, you will be surprised. And they are buried in there. You understand? So, the federal government is responsible. That's why I want to make it broader. The federal government is responsible for this thing that's going on because the facilities created is not sufficient. That is not to say it is legal. That is not to say I support that VIP thing. But I'm saying that the federal government has neglected the prison to the point where they will tell you that bring money, we're going to get food stuff for you and all that. You can't eat this thing. They want men for the general, and the federal government, they spend 14,000 to feed an inmate a day. 14K. But the kind of food they give them is nothing to write home about. In the budget, prison issues is more the first line charge. You know, recently the federal government started complaining about feeding inmates who had committed state offense. And now crowded. The federal government will not be taking care of inmates that committed state offense because states don't have prisons by virtue of the exclusive list. The federal government had to bear the burden. They started complaining that states should come and take their inmates. They will not. So, because of what it takes to take care of the prison, but at the end of the day, if the infrastructures are not even, they are not equal, they are not for everyone, people who are privileged will pay for other services that are known to our laws. And that's exactly what is going on. So let the government, let's use the Bobrisky's case, okay? Not just to verify him, but to ask for prison reforms. Yes, that our prisons are not in shape. They are not in shape. In abroad, some other countries, when you go to prison, you have the option to play football, you have the option to undertake, you can study to a PhD. We have it too.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, we have it. Open universities there. The football pitches are there. But how good are these facilities? How well are these places taking? What is it? It is inmates that provide sanitary materials. You understand? Sometimes they have to go the extra mile to look for water in some prisons. Okay? I had there's a client I was defending at the Abeokuta prison, Okemuso, whom I went there and there was like a riot in the prison. They were throwing buckets and all that. I was asking the prison what was going on, that I want to see he said I should hold on. That I later found out that there was no water in the prison. And that was why they were rioting and all that. So in some prisons you find different stories for different prisons. If the federal government cannot take care of this prison, then they should look for it to contract it out. Or to look for an alternative so that you can have so it will be wrong for us to just come out all the time and say the prison warders should be they should be dismissed, they should be suspended, they should be all this and that because they are which is illegal, which is right. But there's a reason they are doing that. And if that reason has been fixed, the inmates will not have any need to look for an alternative way to serve his time other than to go by what is available.
Very, very well said. I do not know if our constitution permits this, but of course, in the United States, for example, all the prisons are privatized. They are individually owned by people. It's like an investment.
Yes.
All right. So that the federal government or the government pays them to take care of the inmates.
And our prisons also are largely congested because most times the judges are giving custodian sentences. Not all sentences should be custodian. Like this Bobrisky's own, there was an option of fine. You understand? Could have sent them to do community service. Bobrisky need not go there for 6 months. But I also understand why the judge did that.
Okay.
He's been an irregular citizen, okay, with a lot of complaints here and there. So that was good, but that was not the only option. There are other options. So had it been that the judge applied a sentence, maybe the alternative, and he has to pay for it and all that, he would not have gone into the prison to discover you have to pay to stay in a private facility and all that, and it will not discover, and then we will not have that cost. But our judges should look at beyond the offense, the alternatives that could avert you going to crowd further the prisons.
Well, we just hope that this turns out well. Of course, developing story have it that Bobrisky is becoming suicidal.
Yeah, he's becoming suicidal.
And all that.
All his posts on Instagram and
very true.
On his videos.
Yeah, so we just hope that this is an open sesame, so we can correct our centers and allow them become functional. But let's get to the Guardian newspaper for today, and the big story here says Tinubu's foreign mission, how Nigeria's internal crisis, a narrow foreign policy, international repute. Tinubu money troubles. Now the second flake here, which shows our president being bind down by lots of issues ravaging the country. Very funny.
Okay, moving on. Still on the Guardian newspaper, Jonathan debunks disappearance of $49.8 billion during his tenure.
And also on the bottom strip here, we have Ohaneze flees the Southeast governors over Kano's continued detention.
Stolen crude. IOC's indebtedness to federal government hits $7 billion.
And also, experts warn of looming crisis as 4 trillion naira yearly wage bill sparks debt fears. But let's look at, if possible, 2 important stories here. But let's kick off with Ohaneze flees the Southeast governors over Kano's continued detention. And I guess that's the reason we have the insurgency happening or ravaging the southeast of Nigeria and all that, because the protest in all of this happening in the southeast of Nigeria is because I feel they think that the southeast governors are not doing enough in ensuring that Nnamdi Kanu, gets all the needed assistance that he needs in order to get him out. Of course, that's the reason why all of this is possible. But knowing how our constitution works, do you think it's good enough for a governor who is elected constitutionally to say, I am backing someone who is struggling against the country in its entirety?
The agitation for secession didn't start with Nnamdi Kanu. That agitation had been there. In fact, from Ojukwu to, so many of them, Wazirike to Ojukwu did it within the system. He was a soldier and it led to the war. Okay, Wazirike, then Nnamdi Kanu and others. After Nnamdi Kanu, there will be others. Yeah. Okay, so what I think, the governors should come together and fight for its release, politically speaking. They have to, you understand? Because they've been doing that, especially some of them at the National Assembly. You understand? So it is their responsibility to so do. The reason is because this thing does not have a legal solution. It doesn't have a legal solution. Look at the Justice Binta wanted trial to continue. How will trial continue when there's a motion that you don't have jurisdiction? In your charge sheet, you say you committed the offense in London. If you commit an offense in London, no Nigerian court have jurisdiction to try you. Then they now amended the charge sheet and remove the issue, this thing. But at the end of the day, you now discover that the federal government really don't have a case. They don't have a case. So to keep this man continuously illegally is irresponsible. It's irresponsible because it puts the country in bad light.
Even when we know the gravity of what he does, of what he says, his utterances have significant effect.
Yes, his
on the destruction of what we have today as a society.
It does, but look at the law. Okay, where were this offense committed? Because if you don't have jurisdiction, no matter how beautifully written a judgment is, it goes to no issue. So the motion to address jurisdiction before the court, why is the court asking to proceed when it does not address the what you call the issues pending? There are issues pending. There are interlocutory applications. And we know in law, where you have interlocutory application, you cannot set the interlocutory applications aside to determine the substantive case. You have to deal with what the interlocutory applications are issues, are demands being made by litigants, which ordinarily need to be taken care of before the substantive suit is determined. So why would you step jump it to ask the trial commence? So that is why Nnamdi Kanu asked the judge to recuse herself, which is legal.
Thank you, Barrister.
And then she yielded to that she will recuse herself from the trial. And there's nothing wrong in that.
Okay. Thank you, Barrister. Now let's look at the federal government orders low-key anniversary cites national hardship. Looking at the fact that we're having national hardship, should there be any celebration at all in the country, or the president should actually look for ways to communicate effectively how they are looking forward to ease the economic hardship of the citizens?
What exactly are they celebrating? I mean, this government have not performed any, they have no high points, no milestone, nothing significant have been done. You understand? What do they want to celebrate? They want to celebrate NNPCL and Dangote or what? Or is it a subsidy? Or palliative?
We don't have a unity fabric, remember?
Well, that conceived by the wife of the president.
Sure.
That one is just jamboree. It has no economic impact, no academic content, nothing significant. She's trying to do a rebrand. She cannot even sustain the communication. She can't just unveil it and everybody went to bed and now waiting for October 1st to come and show or to buy the material. And it's just that it's a call to patriotism, that we must all be patriotic, okay? That's the only thing left. Otherwise, the way the leaders are leading the country, there's nothing to celebrate whatsoever. Nothing at all. Because this government have no direction. It has no vision. It is not leading Nigerians anywhere. In fact, Nigerians are enduring this government. This is the hour of endurance. People are just waiting and counting the days and the years so that this government will just leave that place. They have demonstrated it over time that they don't understand the issues and cannot deal with them. It's as simple as that. So until we find a leader who will push the country forward, make things better, perhaps we can celebrate in the future, not now.
All right. All right, so quickly, just before we leave in the next 2 minutes or so, let's look at the Punch newspaper. Big story here, 70,000 naira minimum wage. Federal government begins payment, salaries rise to 4 trillion naira.
Okay, moving on the top strip. Why my admin suspended Sanusi? That is coming from Goodluck Jonathan. And
also, federal government probing bandits sponsors, and that's coming from the DHQ. Yes, so, Mr. Francis, let's take a look at, I know, just take us back a memory lane. It's close to a decade now, if you ask me, the Jonathan Sanusi issue. Sure. Yes, please. I know, I do not know why it is coming up now, but just talk to us on that.
Yeah, the Jonathan Sanusi issue has to do with so many things. He was suspended based on Section 15 of the CBN Act then. Okay, and people went to town and said that the president have no right whatsoever to suspend him. He made certain utterances, okay, not only about the missing NNPC, how many billion? 48 billion dollars. He was actually, the same way he was suspended was the same way Farida Waziri was suspended. There were official secrets classified documents, classified information, government classified information. He was busy acting funny, okay, then. And so many issues were raised then, how the country is being mismanaged, how monies are being stolen, how corruption has hit the roof, and so many allegations, that characterize that government, okay? Then he didn't know that the president have a right under the law, I would say, or whether he knew or not, but he continued in that trajectory. And at the end of the day, he was suspended. He was suspended because of his actions. And these actions are actually unto us. The details of these actions are onerous. Yes, they are onerous. And when that happened, there was a lot of people were running up and down. The North took it personal, and all that. But at the end of the day, he further proved himself, and Jonathan was vindicated, because after that, the event that followed that, you could see clearly that he was not just talking; he was acting based on some arrangements, some agreements somewhere, some cabal somewhere.
But looking at his performance as against what we have now, Emefiele, what's this man's name now? Cardoso. Looking at if you can maybe juxtapose.
Yeah, his performance was actually better than what we have now. But one thing you must also know is that globally, we have economic issues globally, okay, which were not present at the time. When we had a meltdown in 2009, okay, we had a meltdown in 2009. Then after it, when the word came out from that meltdown, that was when he was there in 2012, okay, from 2009 to down up until his suspension in 2013. Suspension was in 2013. Yes, 2013, yeah. That's when he was suspended. And we could say that the naira to the dollar ratio, if that's what you are referring to, now during his time was better. In 2013, how much was the naira to the dollar? How much was it? Was it not 100?
About 150.
100 plus.
Yeah.
100 plus. And where is it today? Okay. If you look at the economy then too, generally speaking, the economy was better then than it is now. Okay. We're paying subsidies steady. Yes, and we're supposed to pay it because the federal government, the refinery were working then. He too was involved in this turnaround maintenance, where Alice Imadeke was, the petroleum minister, and had led the country into that trajectory. Which is why I'm surprised that this current government is still doing turnaround maintenance, where this refinery cannot work. The best thing you could do is to give it out to people who can manage it. So now he's saying that under Jonathan, we lost so much money, but you know that there's a rift between them. You understand? Jonathan is coming to debunk it, because also it's painful to Jonathan, because most of the issues that Sanusi advocates for in the North were things that Jonathan was trying to do. He spent almost all he could have used to do significant projects. He used it to build Amajiri schools.
And today we have it that there are 50 million Almajiri.
So what is the outcome? All the Almajiri schools, they've been converted to mosques. And at the end of the day, you don't have anything meaningful. So Sanusi is a bit hypocritical if he's coming out to say, we lost this under... Yes, we lost it under Jonathan, but we lost it to the North. Yes, that's the best way to put it. We lost it, but we lost it to the North. So that rift is still there. He's still not happy that his term of office as the CBN governor was short-lived, or was cut short by the government, because he still have time, some years to go then, having done the this thing. So I mean, I will not support that idea that you come out and tell us now. Was there a time Nigeria had not lost money?
Thank you very much.
All right, that's just about the size of our segment today. Thank you so very much,
Thank you,
Barrister
Barrister.
Ufeli,
Thank you.
Yeah,
very
thank
much.
on the show. So when
My
we
pleasure.
return, Barrister Ufeli, who is here with our 6th court order demanding federal government to prosecute alleged terrorist sponsor. Stay with us, please don't go anywhere.
Yeah, we'll be right back.